Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. For today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm getting ready to sit down and film my March budget, but before I kind of sit down and try to figure out what I want to budget for our variable expenses, I want to take a look back at the last couple of months and see where we landed. So for things like bills, it's pretty easy to figure out what to budget, right? You just budget how much your bills cost. But variable spending is a little bit different because it is by nature variable. It varies month to month. So I want to get a look at what I'm spending in those categories, or what I have spent in those categories rather, for the last couple of months, so I can see kind of the average that I've been spending, and that'll give me a feel for how much I should budget. So I have my spending comparison worksheet here. This is a worksheet that is available in my Etsy shop, and there's a place here to write the category, how much we spent last month, how much we spent this month, and then the change. So you can use this change column here to either write like the difference, like we spent $36 more this month than last month, or you can use this to write in what changed in the month that made it so that you spent more or less. Like if you had a birthday this month, then that's why you spent more in of the food category, because you had to buy ingredients to make a cake, or that sort of thing. This worksheet's actually really customizable. You can use it any way you want, but that's how I'm going to use it today. And I'm not going to compare all of my categories because, like I said, the bills, it's pretty easy to figure out. What I'm going to focus on are these variable expenses. So if you watched my budget closeout video, you would see, or you would have seen, that we actually stayed under budget for most of our categories, with the exception of eating out, because we had that circumstance where we lost my sister. There was not like a funeral service. What we did instead was we had a memorial dinner, and that came out of my eating out budget, and it was quite an expensive meal. But other than that, we did really well. These numbers here, these totals that I kind of filled in off camera, represent the totals for each column minus the rollover, because I decided to keep that rollover private. You can see here though that we, we're less than $100 over budget overall for the month. So that's really, really great. But in order to try to get even closer to being able to stick to my budget, I thought it would be helpful to look at the miscellaneous categories, the gas, the spending, the household, the variable expenses, and just kind of see what I spent in January, what I spent in February, and that'll hopefully give me an idea as to what to budget for March. So the categories I'm going to track are grocery, eating out, we're gonna do household, we're gonna do gas, spending, and miscellaneous. So those are the kind of the main things that we can control. We can't control how much our bills are. We can turn off more lights to try to lower our electric bill or that sort of thing, but the big areas that we can focus on to lower our budget are these categories here. So what I'm going to do is actually flip back to my January hybrid budget, which I have here, and we're going to fill in January's totals first. So you can see for January we were over budget in some categories as well. All right, so for groceries in January, we budgeted $600. We spent $572.22. So I'm just going to write in what we spent, not what we budgeted. I'm actually shocked that we were able to spend so little in groceries, because I know that February was much higher than this. We also budgeted higher than this. So yeah, I'm actually shocked that we stayed that low in January. I don't know how we managed to do that, to be honest, with prices being as high as they are. All right. Anyway, for eating out, we spent $250.16. For household, we spent $125.71. For gas, we spent $128.01. For spending, we spent $399.52. And for miscellaneous, we spent $28.77. So those were January's totals for those categories. Now I'm just going to go ahead and flip back to our February hybrid budget. And fill in those totals as well. So I don't know. I'm not going to be able to get everything in frame, I don't think, you guys. Sorry about that. So for grocery, can you guys see? $704.68. For eating out, it was $460.41. For household, it was $128.91. For gas, it was $120. For spending, it was $400. And then for miscellaneous, we spent $47.56. So you can see there are some discrepancies here. I'm going to go ahead and put my binder off to the side because I don't need that anymore. And I'm actually going to zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see this a little better. So yeah, you can see even though January was a longer month, we still spent more in groceries in February than we did in January. Part of that, I think, is just prices keep going up. I also bought a lot more healthy food options, trying to kind of get myself back on Weight Watchers. But just in general, the big thing, I think, is just that I budgeted more in February than I did in January, so I kind of gave myself permission to spend more. So if I had ratcheted down the budget in February to be like $600, would I have spent less? Maybe. It's hard to tell. I'm just going to kind of put the difference in here in this change category. $704.68 is what we spent in February. I'm just going to subtract what we spent in January, and that means that we spent $132.46 more in February than we did in January, even though February was a shorter month. So that's interesting to me. Now for March, I'm actually going to pull my calendar back in here, or my binder rather, because I want to look at March's calendar. We tend to do our grocery shopping on Tuesdays, Mondays or Tuesdays, kind of in that area. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in March, whereas in February we only had 4 weeks. So I'm going to budget more, I think, in March just because we have that extra week, or that extra grocery trip, rather. But I'll definitely keep in mind that we spent $704, and we spent significantly less than that in January. Now, in January, we also had quite a few things stocked up, but I mean, that was the case in February too. So that's just something for me to keep in mind, and I will use this kind of thought to guide me when I set my March budget. Now for eating out, we were significantly over budget in February because of that dinner for my sister, which was right around $200. So that $210.25 difference that we spent, like 195 or 196 of that was for that dinner for my sister, that memorial dinner. So realistically, we're not that far off. Like if we take that 196 away, we only spent $14.25 more in February than we did in January, but both months we went over budget. So I've been budgeting $200 a month in eating out, and we've been going over that consistently the last 2 months. So what I need to do then is I need to either be aware of that and try to eat out less, or I need to budget more. Now, yeah, we were obviously way, way, way over, and we obviously spent more in February than January, but without those extenuating circumstances, we would not have done that. So I'm kind of taking that out of the equation because that's not a typical thing. So I am going to write the difference, which I don't remember now, so I have to do the math again. That we spent $210.25 more in February than we did in January, but I'm just gonna write that in parenthesis that was for my sister Cassie's dinner. A good portion of that is the reason why. So still, I need to think about upping my eating out budget in March, but clearly not like by $200, right? Okay, so for household, you can see that we were pretty daggone close. In January, we spent $125.71. In February, we spent $128.91. So we're only a few dollars off. Once again, we did spend more in February than we did in January, which seems to be the trend, but only by $3.20. So that's close enough to kind of be non-existent in my opinion. So we budgeted, I think, for household $150 in January, or we budgeted $100 in January and I went over that. So in February, I took that into account and upped the budget, and I budgeted $150. And that seems to be the sweet spot. Like we've come in under 150 on both occasions. I probably could even lower my budget to 130, but likely I'll keep it right at 150 just so we have some wiggle room. But that's pretty darn close, and that's what I want to see. I want to see consistently what are we spending, and if we're spending way more than that, like we did in this case, what was the reason? So this is actually really, really helpful. If you guys don't do this and compare your spending month over month, I highly recommend it. It's really eye-opening, and I will have my spending comparison, this one from the Pretty Petals collection, linked directly down below if you want to grab it. But I do have this spending comparison available in a few other designs as well. If you just go on my Etsy shop and search in a little search bar, spending comparison, all the different designs will pop up. This is a really helpful worksheet. Alright, so for gas, you can see we actually spent a little bit less in February than we did in January, which is good. At least something came in less in February. We spent $128.01 in January, and then we spent $120 in February. For both months, I actually budgeted $200. I want to be prepared in case gas prices skyrocket, which seems likely. So I don't know if I will lower my budget for March or if I will keep it at the same, but either way, we're spending roughly $120 to $130 on gas lately. Now in the summertime, when summer rolls around, we drive a ton more, and that budget will need to go up, and that $200 will be like our sweet spot, as long as gas prices don't go up too much between now and then. But in the winter, it seems like we're spending less, so I can keep that in mind when I set my March budget. Maybe I'll do $150, we'll see. So the difference here, I don't even need my calculator for. We spent $8.01 less in February than we did in January, and I'm honestly wondering if there wasn't like a car wash or something that made that difference. All right, for spending, $400 is our sweet spot. We really stick to our spending budget. This is not an area where we need to tweak anything or mess with anything. My husband gets $40 every week, my son gets $20 every week, and I get $40 every week. So because March has those 5 paychecks, we will have to budget more than that $400 to make up that additional paychecks spending money. But that 40, 40, and 20, so that $100 every week is like the sweet spot. It's perfect. So this change here is negligible. What is that, $1.48 difference that we spent more, and that was just because in February we did it all in cash, And in January, I like tracked every single thing down to the penny. So that's the reason there. So that's the reason there for the discrepancy. But overall, $400. Not even $1.48. It was 48 cents difference. I was looking at that like, wait, that doesn't seem right. So yeah, I mean, $100 a week is our sweet spot, and it's working for us, so we're not going to rock the boat. All right, and then miscellaneous, you can see here that, yes, we spent more in February than we did in January, but still significantly less than the $100 that I've been budgeting. So I could maybe tweak this budget a little bit and probably knock it down to $50. If I want to keep it at $100 just for that wiggle room, that would be fine as well. But overall for miscellaneous, we spent $18.79 more in January, or in February, than we did in January. So overall, the trend was that we spent more in February than we did in January, just kind of overall, but not too drastically different. Right, other than this dinner for my sister, if we take that out of the equation, we spent within $150 in variable expenses for both months. So it's not really too drastic. There's definitely some tweaking I need to do for my grocery budget and for my eating out budget, but everything else I think we did really well with. So I will likely just keep those numbers the same. So this little experiment was fun, something different for my channel. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of this video, if you liked it. And let me know if you do a spending comparison at the end of the month and you compare month to month how you're doing with your spending overall. This was really eye-opening for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I'd love to have you come back, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, friends.